also want you guys to keep in mind while we listening to this that Stephen A. Smith went to the Disney bosses and the ESPN bosses before he said all this. And before he's telling us all this, he already talked about what he was going to say with them. So, and I'm saying that why that's important to remember while we listen to this is because the things that he said to them is the thing, or the things that he's saying to us and letting us hear are the things that they're discussing in them offices. So it's giving us some type of indicator on why Shannon Sharpe got fired. What the real is. It's not that he's guilty or innocent. They don't care about him being guilty or innocent. Stephen A. Smith just said it. We don't even know if he's guilty or innocent. But the audio of him saying this, and when he said the audio was put out, and the way Shannon Sharpe responded to everything. Like, yeah, there's a 10-minute video. Put it out. Bro, what is you doing? No, don't put it out. That's ruining your situation. Like, the brand is being tarnished if you put that stuff out. Not just Shannon Sharpe's. The public will probably overlook it. But you're talking about ESPN and Disney. So let's let Stephen A. continue. Just keep those things in mind.
And so because of that, knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense. How we interpret that? Let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from. I'm a bit torn in terms of his response. On one hand, Tony Busby has sued Jay-Z. He did sue Diddy. He did accuse them, or represented the woman who was accusing them of assault, of sexual assault, and said that she was 13 years of age at the time when talking about Jay-Z and Diddy, and Jay-Z went ballistic and emphatically denied it, wouldn't let it go. The case was dropped, and now he's suing Busby, mentioning words like extortion and other things. So when Shannon Sharpe brought up Mr. Busby in that video that we aired and talked about him being extorted, he brought up Mr. Busby and Mr. Busby's past. And he talked about him, going against African-American men. There's two thoughts there. On one hand, there's the Jay-Z, who obviously should be presumed innocent, not just because you should be presumed innocent until found guilty, but because of the manner in which he fought on his own behalf and has been very aggressive in going after Tony Busby.
He just trying to justify why he defended Jay-Z so hard. To be real, like, bro, you just trying to justify why you defended Jay-Z so hard and why you ain't got Shannon Sharpe back the same way with the same vigor and the same intensity that you got Jay. Because Jay did it like this and Jay did it like, nah, bro. It's because you value the relationship with Jay more than you value the relationship with Shannon Sharpe. And with Shannon Sharpe, it was business. And with Jay, you want some friendship there, and you feel like Jay can be a little bit more beneficial in the future, probably. Because Jay got that casino coming. And he over there with Fanatics, and they doing business, and that's a whole different conversation. And you might need Jay's support one day. But all of it just, let's let him continue.
In the case of P. Diddy, you don't know what to believe. Again, the case against Jay-Z was a civil suit. Diddy was a civil suit. But in Diddy, you don't know what to believe because of all the allegations he's facing. But we can't forget that Tony Busby was also the person that represented at least 24 of the 27 women that accused Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct along with other allegations. And at least 23 of those cases were settled.
Mm-hmm. See, it's the settlement part. When you start talking about settling, that's what it make Shannon Sharpe look bad, man. You settled a RAPE lawsuit, bro. Not won, not got dismissed, settled.
Shouldn't have mentioned that. So on one hand, going on the offensive to defend himself I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday, and they spoke about, they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things in the world for all of us to do is to just lay low and be quiet. And let our legal team do it. And we don't always know whether or not that's the right thing to do. I know, and I can tell you all, that I spoke to Shannon, not in details, but I spoke to him, and he emphatically proclaims his innocence. According to Mr. Busby, his client emphatically proclaims his guilt. So where does that leave us? I'd love to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but I don't. I am the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. But I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on. I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro,
Hit that like button.
who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather.
He spoke to the Disney bosses. He spoke to Shannon Sharpe. He spoke on the situation. He going to keep speaking on the situation, man. We're going to hear a lot more from Stephen A. Smith. But the problem that Shannon Sharpe is facing is not just that there's these allegations. And I know people are making the jokes like we got the Stephen A. Smith cop meme. You know, we got the Stephen A. Smith. Y'all remember this scene? And, you know, we get in the memes. But in reality, Shannon Sharpe did this to himself. You know, and I know Stephen A. got a reputation over there at ESPN. Like you always the boss when it looked good, and then you're not the boss when it's time to look bad in the public. You always want to put it on ESPN and Disney. And some people feel that way. I think Stephen A. Smith doing his job. He doing what he's supposed to do in them situations. He don't always say or do the right thing, but none of us do. None of us do.